Hello and welcome to my latest weekly property news from Madison's. Well, one of the interesting things that I'm seeing at the moment in many news stories that is reported is the north-south divide. There seems to be a real difference going on in terms of prices achieved, growth on prices, and time on market. Um, Traditionally, in a real boom market, the south and the sort of big commuter areas will do particularly well. And so we do see big rises at those times. And then in a slightly flatter buyer's market, which is what we're currently now experiencing, those prices will correct a bit. Whereas generally, the more outlier areas tend to have more of a steady growth. They have neither the booms nor the bust period. So the Office of National Statistics came out last week and announced some really interesting discrepancies on price growth from the area. So basically, every single area that recorded a price growth of above 3% was in the north of the country. And every single area that recorded a fall of 3% or more was in the south of the country. There wasn't a single one that fell outside of those parameters, which I just think is really, really interesting. Here in the southeast, prices certainly not down as much as they are in London and other areas. But, real regional disparities. Tunbridge Wells, as I continue to say, does remain a very needs-based market. So we are seeing very slight growth of sort of 1.5% to 2%. But that's only for the really great properties that are priced correctly and presented brilliantly. So that's the other statistic they've come out. Generally, in the north of the country and more in those outlying areas, most property transactions are pretty steady. They take roughly around 65 days to actually get to a point of offer. This is getting an average. Obviously, you'll have much longer and shorter than that. But 65 days to negotiate a successful offer and be close to exchange. In the south and around those commuter areas, it is much, much longer and getting longer. But again, subtle differences in that well-priced, well-located properties will be the absolute stars, and they go under offer very, very quickly. But not also if they are holding out at a price that is unrealistic. So even those amazing properties can't fly their flag at a price that is too bullish in this market. So interesting disparities there on the north-south divide of what's going on with property. And another really interesting area that saw regional differences was in the world of new builds. So what we are seeing, obviously material and labour costs have gone up quite a bit, and that is being reflected across the cost to build your new property. So drops in building in Wales, the northwest, the southeast, the southwest and Yorkshire and Humber, and increases in building costs in East Midland, East England, London, North East and the West Midlands. So although you're getting differences there, there's no real rhyme or reason to it. They think it's because of planning constraints, labour costs, as I've said, material costs, all sorts of things influencing that. A new build premium is something that I do get spoken to about quite a lot actually. So when you buy a property new from a developer, you are buying into the fact that everything is going to work. There's probably a warranty that surrounds it, and it's all going to be really on trend and feeling very, very attractive. So you're not going to have to put your hand into your pocket for some time in terms of renovating and updating. Whereas with secondhand stock, you might have to do that. So if you come to sell your new build property within, I don't know, anything between 2 to 5 years of buying it, you might see a decrease in the price that you actually paid for it and what it's now worth. So you might actually lose some money, and that's because you have that new build premium banked into it, which means you shouldn't be putting your hand in your pocket. People often forget when they buy secondhand stock, they'll buy it and then they'll gradually invest in it. And when they come then to sell it, they won't have thought about all those little bits and pieces of money they've invested along the way, which is why on a new build, you can see a drop. And that's a tricky conversation for me to get into. It's never nice when we think we might have lost money in this world, but it does mean when you're a second-hand buyer coming to it, you can get a great deal. And some examples of some really great, not old properties, but under 10-year-old properties, or kind of there or thereabouts, that we've got. 3 fabulous ones I want to bring to your attention. We've got this great 5-bedroom house on Frank Rosier Way. What I love about this one for a new build is the bedroom space is phenomenally strong and the ceiling height is great. That is on a guide, an accessory of 1 million. And then this fabulous property on Duncalf Road. So what I love about this one for a new build is the size of the plot. It's really generous and you don't feel overlooked at all. So that one's a really good 3 bedroom, lovely and spacious, guide of 835,000. And then how about this one that we literally launched just this week on Duke's Drive? Again, really great bedroom space. But what I love about this one, once again, is the size of that plot. It's got a really lovely wraparound plot, and the accommodation is really well designed and well laid out. That one on at a guide of 1.1 million. So 3 lovely newer properties that we have, if that's of interest to you. I hope you have a lovely week. I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.